that game got away from us in the first half. We've got to find a way to start faster. Those guys did a fantastic job. Akers is an amazing player. And our Coach Willie, obviously, that was a good football team. They did a nice job as coaches, and we need to regroup and get back home to the Dome and see if we can find a way to get a W, which we haven't had in a long, long time.
We know Ryan Alexander left the team earlier this week. What can you kind of share about that? You said you were going to make adjustments to the lineup. Did his decision to leave precede that, or was it afterward?
It actually was. He made that. He decided to quit before all that happened, and he didn't come talk to me. I haven't spoken to him.
So how did you find out? He just didn't show up Tuesday?
O-line coach. He called his O-line coach and told him.
What does that do to a team that's already going through this? How did you see the guys maybe react to it early in the week?
We don't react to guys that quit. Saw the quarterback take off and put his body in harm, which was, whoa, okay, that was good. So there's some good things out there that we need to build on, but overall I think we need to continue to grow. They were blitzing us a lot. And if you go back and watch the tape, here's the thing. They were blitzing a whole bunch in the first half. A whole bunch. Yeah. They didn't blitz nearly as much in the second half. And that could be some reasons for the success as well. And what we need to do is go back and handle the blitz better.
Welcome to the Cuse Militia Podcast with those two unapologetically biased, orange-blooded homers, Sean and Joe.
What's up, Cuse Nation? Thanks for tuning into the Cuse Militia Podcast with Sean and Joe. If you like it, please share it. The universal handle for the socials is @Cuse Militia. Go there, join the militia. We are the first Syracuse sports podcast centered around giving you, the fans, a voice. Welcome. Happy Sunday to all of you. It is Sunday evening. The NFL's wrapping up.
For some people.
Yeah, during this recording, by the way. That's what's going on. So, the Syracuse Orange football team sits at 3-5, 0-4 in the ACC after being handled by FSU Saturday. The hopes of a bowl game dwindle that much more, as Syracuse still hasn't beaten a Power 5 team and are the only ACC team without a conference win. So it stings even more once again on this Sunday after game day. So we will get into all of that great stuff, but I want to first talk about these good folks they are, over at Manscaped. Manscaped is supporting Armchair Media, and they're also supporting this podcast. They are the #1 men's below-the-belt grooming kit. Manscaped offers precision-engineered tools for your family jewels. Joe, you love it. You need this. Look, they sent me a sample. It's great. I got this. I got a sample kit, bro. I got a whole kit here. There's cologne in here. There's this thing right here. This thing's called the Plow. Look at this.
Don't do that. Your shower bag.
Dude, tell me how scary that looks. I am not putting that nowheres near where it's supposed to go.
What is that?
It is a old-timey looking like straight razor type thingy. And that's not coming anywhere near the stuff. But hey, there's below the belt ball deodorant in here. Okay? If you want to smell good. You know what I'm saying? The Mower 2.0 trimmer. This thing's waterproof. And it's engineered it's engineered to be skin safe. It's got skin safe technology so the trimmer won't nick or snag your man stuff, okay? You know, so
you gotta be kidding me.
So accidents are now a thing of the past, Joe. You don't have to worry about nicking yourself anymore. And here's the thing. I know there is someone, by the amount of people who listen to this podcast, there's definitely been someone who has nicked themselves with their wall hair trimmer buzzers, okay? And you use it down...
That sounds like a personal story.
You use it down below your belt, and then you use it on your face. That's gross. Worse yet, you use it down below the belt, and then you use it to cut your buddy's hair. Now, I know there's someone that has actually done that, and that's just nasty. So it's like, would you wipe your butt and then blow your nose with the same stuff? I doubt it.
No, Sean, no. The answer's no.
Right. So Manscaped also has the crop preserver. That's an anti-chafing ball deodorant and moisturizer, okay? You already put deodorant under your armpits. Now, why aren't you putting it down there? I mean, you might as well. They make the stuff. Here's the thing. Get 20% off plus free shipping with the code armchair at manscaped.com. Always use the right tools for the job, guys. Okay? Your balls will thank you. So, get the 20% off and free shipping with the code armchair at manscaped.com. That's 20% off with free shipping at manscaped.com. Use the promo code armchair and listen. You get this lovely kit. Comes with a toiletry bag and everything. We'll dive into the kit a little more. Sometime.
We don't need to.
Joe, no, you want to see? Look, you want?
No.
Are you sure?
No.
Okay.
It's supposed to be fan friendly.
Yeah. So anyway, check out the Manscaped kit. Check it out. Thank you, Manscaped. All right. So as we reached the end of the week, the news of Ryan Alexander leaving the program broke, and I think it was Thursday. Turns out he just quit, and coach didn't hold back. I don't think as well as a coach could. That probably didn't help things heading south to Florida on Saturday. I did say it last week, and I'll say it again. It's like Groundhog Day each and every game because we're not seeing anything new on offense. I don't see any creativity. It's very pedestrian and predictable. And in this game, you can also add to that poor clock management. DeVito was sacked 7 times. And Syracuse leads the nation in giving up sacks now with 42 of them. Weapons like Luke Benson weren't used. Or utilized, I should say. And the hurry-up offense, I think, we touched on this last time too, I think needs to be tabled until they can sustain drives. It was wearing the defense out. The Orange committed 14 penalties for 107 yards. 5 of those 14 were false starts. That puts them at 78 penalties for the year, second to last in the country at 129th. And we mentioned that the defense was going to have to be on their game when wrapping up Cam Akers, one of the best in the nation. Well, Akers rushed for 144 yards and 4 TDs, a game best for him on 20 carries. The silver lining, if there was one, the Orange did end the day rushing with 192 yards, which is awesome. 3.7 yards a carry. Mo Neal, 74 yards on 20 carries. Abdul Adams, 56 yards on 11 carries. Each of them with a Russian score. Those 2 Russian touchdowns are the first and second against Power 5 teams by SU so far this year. I know. Can you believe that? I had no idea. Syracuse's streak of 21 straight games with a forced turnover came to an end. The Orange's takeaway streak dated back to 2017.
Shouldn't have.
Against Boston College. Andre Sisco, he had one. He had one in his hands, man. He knew it. He knew it. He missed it.
Yeah.
Unfortunate, but that was the best shot to get one.
Trying to make a big play. He's looking ahead. It's unfortunate. And again, that's what happens when your offense can't score and your defense feels like they actually have to put points on the board if they have a chance. And I mean, that's great to think like that, but things like that happen when it comes to that point. So,
I mean, what did you think? I thought we've heard a lot about the play calling here and there, and it's not been great. But didn't you expect a little something extra this week? I mean, there was a little bit. I'm not saying there wasn't any, but I don't know, man. I don't know.
Kind of just looks the same.
It looks the same, right? That's what I'm saying.
Florida State's got some NFL draft picks in their defense, and their secondary is pretty athletic, and obviously Cam Akers and even their second string back there with Laburn, those guys are both really good. So, they busted out the Wildcat. I was afraid of some stuff like that. I wasn't afraid of Cam Akers passing, but we did talk about him in the pregame podcast, and again, he definitely did what I was afraid he was going to do, without a doubt. And I mean, there were times when we kind of held them, and when those things happen, we got to be able to take advantage of it and put points on the board. We never did. And if you just don't jump on them and put points up like we talked about, then I knew eventually Cam Akers would start to break those type of plays because defense would try to do too much instead of, wrapping up and making a tackle. They're trying to, force the ball out or, trying to strip the ball and make a play. And, it was unfortunate. But the first half looked exactly like pretty much every first half the last 3-4 games.
I know, and I guess I was expecting maybe a little something different there. Obviously the departure of Ryan Alexander was just as probably took the coaching staff off by surprise a little bit, to say the least.
Yeah.
So you've got that, and you've got.
But who knows?
Traveling.
Maybe he knew that he was getting replaced. Maybe that was part of it.
Maybe.
And then he didn't want to fight to get it back. I don't know.
It seems like.
I'll tell you. It didn't look. It didn't look worse.
No, it didn't look worse. It didn't. I disagree with.
And
Coach,
again, look what you talked about. What's that?
I think I disagree with a little bit with Coach that, he saw improvement. I don't know if I saw a ton of improvement there. I don't know. It's so hard to tell sometimes. You're looking at 7 sacks. You're looking at, what was DeVito?
Well, and a couple of them were on DeVito. He's got to get the ball away on some of them. But
yeah. 20 of 33 for 151 yards. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know.
No,
By the
again,
way,
like we talked about, it's tough.
DeVito was only sacked 6 times, and Tristan Jackson was sacked 1 time officially, by the way.
Right.
So.
Yeah. You just wonder sometimes if he's just afraid to make certain plays, or, if it's the play calls are just missing. I don't know, but to speed up, like we talked about, to go fast, to run on 3rd and 2 or 3rd and 3 or something when you're not really getting a push, and then you're punting the ball, at some point you just feel bad for the defense. And, unfortunately, our team is what it is at this point. There is no magic wand or magic player that's going to come back and make that offense, kind of click. Sometimes when you get that kind of turnover, some things happen like this. Sometimes it takes a little while, and sometimes multiple years to kind of get that identity with that offense as they grow up together. Because we have a lot of young guys out there in key positions where they really can't be young.
Yeah, there was, the defense, I thought they were good at times. They let 2 quick scores go, and then they really started to settle in. They did a good job. They had the one trick play again. They got hit on for, it was like a 54-yard gain. Ugh. And it was over. That play was over, and Cam Akers throws it back and to Hornibrook, and then and it was just a mess after that. It was just
yeah. We constantly harp on the little things, and again, all these toss-up games and everything. It's just one of those things where it's the little things, and when you're second to last in penalties and you're last place in turnovers, and your special teams isn't as good as it was last year as far as putting field goals and 3 points up on the board, and we're just not having all the turnovers in certain lucky plays. This is, you kind of see what happens, and we've seen it, and just, it's unfortunate because, those little things could definitely have helped us win a couple games this season, like it did last year. But right now it's just not looking like it's in the cards. It hasn't been so far.
Schmidt is on the schneid. To be quite honest with you, he's been missing ones that he would make last year. So,
right.
And the one play that I saw, when I saw it, I was wondering it myself, but then it hit social media and everybody noticed it, was the down 25 points, 3rd and 7, and they decided to run the ball. And you just got to think to yourself, what are we doing? Did we give up? Were we trying to trick them? Were we trying to get them off their game? But once it's said and done, if it works, I guess you're a genius. But if it doesn't work, it's like, what are you doing? Right. So. Yeah.
At this point, again, every Saturday I wake up and I'm optimistic that we could possibly put it together and get a W. But you see this happen. You see this happen in the pros. You see it at every level. You get those seasons where certain injuries you can't come back from. It's personally happened with us with Eric Dungy just recently. And then you have those years where you kind of need that year for them to kind of lick their wounds and get that experience and kind of get pushed around a little bit before they can be the big brother. Maybe next year or the year before, and like I said, or the year after. And sometimes people don't want to wait for that, but that's kind of just what it is sometimes in football. Last year it was a perfect kind of storm where everything went our way, and not all the time, not 100%, but with the injuries and the way that we did handle those little things, I mean, that's what got us to where we were, not because we have the depth of Clemson or Alabama or a top 25 recruiting class where we just reload.
Right.
So you lose certain players at certain positions that were key guys, key captains, players that truly made the identity of your offense and created the identity of your offense and the confidence and continuity of your offense. And you lose those 3 or 4 linemen and Dungy and a receiver and a tight end, and
what do you think? What do you think, Joe? What do you think, Dungy? What kind of difference does Dungy make with this team? You just take Tommy DeVito out and you put Dungy in.
Well, again, we saw it. It's just a dual threat type of situation. Just different type of quarterbacks that have different styles. And obviously, Eric Dungy, I think sometimes, even Babers, he talks about how good the offensive lineman was last year. And I don't want to take anything away from him, but you see it all the time, especially in college football, where those dual threat guys, they give their teams a chance to win because they can escape that pressure. And they don't even have to be the best passing quarterback because when you're scrambling and when you're running, receivers get open. It's hard for corners to guard guys 4, 5, 6, 7 seconds when there's a broken play, and that's what those type of quarterbacks create, and that's what Dungy created. On top of the fact that he was a tight end running around 6'4", 225, he wasn't the easiest person to stop, and I think that we all kind of underestimated the impact that it was going to be with losing him, and especially changing to a different quarterback with a completely different style. So again, where it's a different style, where we have to create our own identity and figure it out with the players that we got. And the bottom line is that we don't have the experience, and I don't think the size up front, the strength and size up front with the young guys to be able to do what we did last year, or really be able to show Tommy DeVito's full potential as a pocket passer.
And you've got, one of the reasons that possibly haven't been able to do that, obviously, is because we've been one-dimensional. We haven't been able to run the ball. It's been just, maybe run on first down, throw. And you finally got the run game going a little bit, and you heard Coach talk. If you listen to the entire presser, he's talking about, these guys are maybe sick of it. Maybe it's a turning point for the run game. It's good to see them getting some of those chunks of those bigger linemen in there. The defense isn't terrible. Got some big defensive linemen there at Florida State. So I tend to cling on to positive. I cling on to negative things too, but there are some positive things. You have to try to find something to just keep. Look, here's how I look at it right now. For me personally, is I will always have faith, like you said, Joe, waking up Saturday morning. I always have faith that my team can win because I know it's possible. Okay.
Yeah.
But my confidence is low, and so with that said, you can't. You cling on to you can cling on to this run game. I think it can improve. We're going to be playing Boston College in the Dome. I think we're going to see some better play. I feel like it's our best chance to win in the ACC actually next week. So.
Yeah. Well, I think again too. That's just proof that it's a little bit more than just the offensive line, because again, these teams when the games are close, these teams they blitz us.
Blitz.
Because blitz stops passes and it stops runs.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, when you have a quarterback who doesn't have time to look past his first progression, and you can send the house and play straight up man, and if he doesn't make that right decision, that that he's just going to try to run or drop down or tuck it, then you're not going to be able to run or pass. And that's really where we've gotten to. That's why you've seen the little swing passes to the running backs and the stuff it's almost like we need to create a safety blanket for him almost every single play. We can't get cute. We can't sit here and act like we're going to just line up and just run it down their throat. And those are the little things we got to do to figure out how to be able to move the ball. It just seems like it takes a whole half to figure out how to move the ball against these teams. And when you're playing against NFL-type players like Akers and possibly the other running back, Tamarian Terry, who I thought Melfwan, who played actually really good against, and again, what I talked about in the pregame was I was afraid that I thought Hornibrook throughout the season was the better quarterback for them. And lo and behold, comes game day, and who's starting? Hornibrook, which I was worried about. And you saw, because you saw his poise and you saw, his decision making. He didn't make a lot of bad decisions.
Yeah,
he made some smart plays.
And he's decent.
And Blackman's a little bit more athletic, but he's also a little bit more wild in his decision making and taking chances, and that could have, maybe that's why they went that other way. But I didn't like the fact that they started Hornibrook. I was actually hoping Blackman was going to start, so that kind of just messed me up from the beginning. And then with Akers and all that, it's tough, man. You can't just give up a whole half and not scoring and have your defense out there like that playing against those type of players.
It's the slow starts. You go down 13-0, like it's like 5 minutes into the game. It felt like. I know it wasn't, but I mean, and then you talked about, we seemed to figure it out in the second half, but the strategy on the other side of for the other team is totally different in the second half too.
Right,
There's less
exactly.
blitzes.
Right.
There's they're running the ball more. They're a little bit more predictable themselves, and so you're able to get those. I mean, let's be totally honest here, Joe. Those were garbage touchdowns.
Yeah,
they were, and
they weren't blitzing.
No.
And like Baber said, maybe is even against their second team. So again, I mean, we're out there basically using it as a scrimmage to get better. Right. Essentially, for all intents and purposes, when that's what you're really talking about. And again, Florida State, I knew they had the better playmakers as far as almost as a better game breakers compared to like Pittsburgh and NC State. So that's why I was afraid of a team like that's why I was saying with NC State and Pittsburgh, we kind of could just mull around and get a three points here, a touchdown here, still stay in the game. I mean, we held NC State to 16 points. So, but with Florida State, I knew that we were going to have to keep the pressure on them, not let them pull away, and be able to score in the 20s. And just to have your defense gassed like that and
playing from behind again the whole game.
And 21-3 is not I mean, it's awful, but it's not a score you can't come back from. But at the same time, knowing that it was Florida State with those running backs and seeing what our offense was, I wasn't confident at halftime. I really wasn't. So
yeah, no, I hear you. Well, I wasn't real confident either. But and like I said, keep the faith. But I'm keeping the faith, but I'm losing confidence. Look,
no, I definitely keep. I mean, I keep the faith, but sometimes it's just not your year, and I think it's just
right. I get it. You ain't got to defend yourself. Let's hear from the fans. We good? You want to try that out?
Sir.
All right, let's do it.
It's time to hear from you, the loudmouths from the Loud House.
All right. Y'all know what to do. Go ahead, hit the socials up. After each game, I present the question. Thoughts on the game. And then you leave your thoughts. It's like magic. So, and it's every game. Y'all do it. Well, I put out a poll this morning, though, too. Syracuse football will make a bowl game. Buy, sell, or hold. It's my buy, sell, or hold question. Syracuse football will make a bowl game. Sell wins it so far in the poll. Still 15 hours left, but there's no way anybody's catching up. 209 votes, 73% sell. There's more, though. There's 17% for hold and 10 are buying into that. So about 20 people out of 209 are buying into that. I say
I'd hold.
Look, I mean, at this point, man, I just don't see it. You'd hold for one more game, probably. You get Boston College. You might hold for another game, right? You get Boston College, and you hold for another.
If we lose any of these next two, then we got to win we got to win the next two if we want to make a bowl game. Right.
I gotta be honest. I would just, if I was putting money down, real money, I'd sell.
Me too.
So, I mean, I'm not.
I'm just saying.
I'm just saying. It's
the hold is my optimism, especially considering that I'm going to the Duke game in 2 weeks, and you're going to the Boston College game this week. So it's like, I mean, even if we lose to Boston College, then theoretically it's still, it's
mathematically possible.
It's still mathematically possible. It's pretty much a win or go home at that point at Duke.
Sure.
But I'd like to have that little buffer.
Yeah, I know. And, we didn't think we'd be here. We were one of the ones I think I predicted like 9-3 or something like that. So shame on me. But you know what? I don't know if I'll make that mistake again, considering all of the breadcrumbs were laid by Coach Babers, and we just refused to pick them up.
Between the fact that we know now that Babers is going to, he's going to throw those breadcrumbs out there, but also the fact of, since we've, been doing this and we've been delving in as much as we have as far as in the podcast and stuff, this is really the first time you get to go in and kind of look at the roster, look at everything, and again, it's just not always what it seems, So we know not to always just let it get out of hand, and you kind of got to look at what we really realistically are losing every year and see really what's going to happen, and actually be not just automatically think that the backup behind him is going to be able to come in and do just as good or better.
Yeah, but we are going to get into your comments first. So that was the poll. There's still time to vote, but I don't know if anything's going to change there. To be quite honest with you, you need quite a few votes. So we are going to get into your feedback here in a second. You heard from us. We're going to hear from you. But first, we got to hear from the good folks over at MyBookie. As a true football fan, you already know just as sure as the seasons change, Tom Brady will keep the Patriots in every game, or the defense will keep them in every game, really. Every weekend, our favorite gridiron warriors put their skills to the test, so why aren't you doing the same? We're almost halfway through the NFL season, so now is the time to get off the sidelines and get in the game with MyBookie. It's mybookie.ag. MyBookie is a premier place to bet on all your favorite pro and college action, and every weekend they also have the most up-to-date and the most prop bets of any sports book on the planet. So if you're going to bet this season, do the smart thing and bet with MyBookie. If you're the kind of guy or gal who likes to bet a little and win a lot, try the parlay. Pick your locks for the week and put them in a parlay bet. And when they all come through, the rewards will be huge, Tom. Huge. Tired of watching games from the couch with nothing to gain? MyBookie wants to get your mind off of everything else and back in the game. The best part is, if you join right now, MyBookie will double your first deposit. That's right. If you put $1,000 down, this is the cap here, $1,000. They'll give you $1,000. That's double your initial deposit. And you can use it on all your favorite picks. Use the promo code CHAIR to activate that offer. That's promo code CHAIR to double your first deposit. Visit mybookie.ag today. You play, you win, you get paid. Thank you to MyBookie. All right, let's hit up Twitter. Let's hit up the Twitter. So we've got at Lore Sprague. She says there's work to do for sure, but they pulled themselves together to score a bit in the second half, so that was good to see. I think Tommy needs more protection. Well, Tommy needs more protection, but I don't know how much I'm putting into the scored a bit in the second half thing, but because we kind of explained that a little bit. But yes, it was good to see them actually score, and the score was way closer, despite the ass kick, and it was still way closer than reality though. Right, Joe?
Right. So, yeah. They had a handle on that game, unfortunately.
Yeah, pretty much. At biggest Cuse fan, the D played better after the initial 2 drives, but they bet at the end. The offense is having some difficulties. No blocking, and DeVito was rushing his throws because of it. They need to get this figured out, or wins are going to be hard to come by. Yeah, well, I mean, you could have said that last game and the game before.
Yeah,
it was kind of the same
basically,
thing, right,
yeah.
Joe? So,
well, it's difficult because you have to sit there and actually find sources of why things are happening and start from there.
It's tough,
and
right?
And then who knows? Because that could be a rabbit hole,
Right.
You think one thing's the problem, then it's okay, well, what's the source of this? And then you find something completely different, and you keep – and that sometimes can be exhausting for a coach, number one. But two, it could be very difficult to turn around during the season. That's the one thing is, like, the season is made in the off season and everything. And again, like you said with the breadcrumbs, we should have listened to Dino when it was spring practice and in the summer. We should have.
Yeah.
The writing was there. He was trying to tell us.
He really basically did. And everybody was like, whatever, coach, what do you know? You're just the coach, man. What's wrong with you? Why are you so negative? So, yeah, right.
I watched 10 minutes of the practice.
I watched highlights, man, at Nettleton Dave. And we put ourselves in that category, right, Joe?
No, 100%. We were there. Everybody was.
We're not busting on anybody.
We're trolling ourselves at this point.
Exactly. At Nettleton Dave, well, we scored 17, and I don't know the sack numbers, but if it had to be at least 8, it had to be less than 8. Yes, it was less than 8, Dave. It was 7.
We did say they weren't going to sack.
No, I said 4.
The last 2 games.
I said 4.
Well, you said 4. I just said less than the amount prior games.
Yeah, so it's been 8, 9, and 7. in against a Florida State team that has struggled to sack for like a month.
No, allegedly.
Allegedly, their D line, no one on their D line had got a sack for the past month. Anyway, he says we did find a way to move the ball in the second half. Yeah, well, deceivingly, yes. Yeah,
it's called Florida State second string.
At Oil Cuse, we better get a QB recruit that can run, a grad transfer QB, a decent JUCO left tackle, a center that can step in and play immediately, a new offensive line coach, a new quarterback coach, and that's not from freaking Texas. If I remember right, at Oil Cuse is from Texas. He wants to revamp the entire
That's
offense.
a lot.
That's the whole offense. So,
well, I'm sure we could compromise, right? Well, I just look.
The play calling is
the only thing that I agree with him is that, again, and you see it even in the lower level schools too. Usually when there's teams that can compete against some of the Power 5 teams that aren't in the Power 5, they have a quarterback that can run a little bit, and that even goes for Power 5 schools as well. And I just don't know if right now it's just kind of a timing thing. That's all. As far as this season goes, we might have been better. I mean, like I talked about it before, if Chance Amin never transfers last year, I mean, he was one of the better athletes on the team. We might be seeing him right now.
Yeah,
but,
we were excited about him.
The state of our offensive line right now cannot support a pocket passing quarterback. And I know that they want to make it work. And I guess, again, they're just going to do what they need to do to try. And I guess look at it as see what happens. It's practice, it's experience. And, Dino Babers is pretty good with the optimism and looking towards the future and everything. And he admits some of that stuff. And that's how you got to look at it as a coach. It's how I try to look at it sometimes as a fan. Yeah. It's tough as a fan, especially after last year, because realistically, I thought last year's season was going to be next year's season with Tommy DeVito a year under his belt. This was my, what I thought 2 years ago, and then last year happened and
just reshaped your whole opinion.
Of course, everybody's, of course, because it's like one of those things. Once you get that taste, you don't want it to go away.
Well, it just goes to show that as negative as people are in the Fire Babers crowd, which let's be honest is over the top. It's over the top.
Yeah.
Okay, but it just goes to show that everybody that is still saying that believed that before the season started that they had something. So there's something to be said for that alone. That look, the frustration comes from anger, and when you're angry, then you vent, and the way people vent is on social media talking trash.
Right.
That's what it comes down to.
And those same people that are saying, calling for Babers is probably the same people that last year that were saying that Babers is going to leave. They don't get too comfortable. Babers is leaving for a better school. Yeah,
which we don't, at least we don't have to worry about that, right? I mean, some good's got to come out of this, though I don't think he was leaving anyway. But he did.
Yeah, no, I'm not even worried about that, but I'm just saying that's but like. You're
right. I get your point. Totally.
Yes.
Yeah. At If Not Now When 84, our good buddy Mike. Another terrible offensive showing. Run game showed a little life, but again, too little too late. I'm 1 or 2 games away from giving up on this team. Now, Mike, that is unacceptable.
Yeah, number one. First off, I thought you were supposed to go to the Duke game, so it can't be one more game. Number one.
Right. Well, look, again, these comments are immediately after the game. Right. And a bit of frustration there. Now, look, I will say this. I do understand that mindset. Like, I'm ready to give up. Obviously, you're getting your ass handed to you. At some point, you just throw your arms in the air like, whatever. It's tough to come in and just, be optimistic all the time. I think that's more or less where he's going with it,
Oh, yeah. I mean, don't get me wrong. It's completely acceptable in the middle of a Saturday afternoon if you don't want to watch a 35-3 football game.
Sure.
And you want to give up on that game that afternoon and go do whatever you need to do, whether it's the honey-do list or go out to dinner or whatever. As long as you come back next week with the same amount of optimism, ready to go. That's all I ask.
Right. Yeah, and let's be honest, he will.
Oh, yeah, he will.
So he's a longtime listener, and he's there on social media during the game, every game. I don't think I've ever not seen him. So Dave on Facebook says DeVito showed a lot of heart and grit by running with determination. Maybe he gained some confidence today. There was a point in the game where DeVito was like, I've got to do something. Right. I've got to do something, and what I have been doing is not working. And he did a couple really good runs, couple first downs. He took a head-on collision again after being hurt 2 weeks ago. And I mean, maybe you don't like to see that, but it shows balls, and it shows it shows determination, and it shows grit, and it shows that he's not giving up. Look, that's right. Did you know that?
No.
You didn't?
No, you're 100% right. You're 100% right, dude. 100% right.
I mean, it showed he didn't give up. They were getting their asses kicked when he took that hit.
Well, that's, again, it comes down to I still don't see the give up. And I don't care if it's second string, this, and that. And I don't care. Sometimes that's embarrassing. You're a first string offense. You got 3 points on the board or whatever, and you're going against the team's second string defense in the third quarter because you're getting your, like you said, ass whooped. Like, at the end of the day, you got to get... You want to be pissed off? You go out there, you take it on, and you learn something, because that's embarrassing.
Yeah, exactly.
I've been there, done that. Because those guys, you know what they want to do? When that's like that, they just want to get off the field. You know what I mean? But to not give up, to go out there and to continue to try, even though it was against whoever, again, that's the one thing, like I said about Babers. I've seen teams with coaches, probably every coach, since Pasqualoni, every coach, probably other than Marone.
So there's a kind of a good in the yin and the yang, if you will, to the La Familia thing,
right?
In a sense, where these guys don't give up because they have been instilled in them that mentality,
right? And we talked about the winning culture that they got last year and everything with Dungy and going 10-3, and at this point. When you have that kind of confidence, you do have some talent. Like it's embarrassing. Like we said, it's embarrassing. You get mad, you get pissed, and now it's all about going out and proving them wrong. And they still, everybody else wrong. All the critics they were all talking about you. Now it's awful quiet.
Right.
You're 3-5. No one cares about you. No one's talking about you. They're talking you up. But they will leave you real quick when you lose like this. So, I hope that it turns into, energy to where they can go on the football field and they can turn it into a positive. And with, again, we talk about it all the time, cohesion and getting an identity on offense. And again, with that kind of coaching, and
Hold on. Go ahead. Finish your thought.
I was just saying, the way that he coaches, it's only going to motivate them into the offseason, and you don't want a team in shambles, giving up, questioning the coach going into the offseason. So
I want everybody to know how dedicated Joe is right now, okay? Those tinks, those those thunks you hear, those are acorns from an oak tree that are hitting Joe's car because he's sitting in his girl's driveway doing this show because he's over there. She's got 3 kids, and he is sitting in his car doing this show. So this is what this guy does for you. Okay? He's getting pinged by acorns.
And her.
Yeah.
I love her.
Let's see. Doug on Facebook, he says, my number one question right now is how many of the new 7,000 season ticket holders will renew? I mean... I guess we'll determined. I guess we'll find out. And
let's not try to lead an onslaught or a charge.
Yeah, I don't. I think it's so affordable though that I mean, I don't know. But there was the excitement built up around that, and it is. It is what it is. Lester on Facebook says, "Can we seriously start to assume that Dino time is done here? He makes no adjustments at all. I understand that you can only get so much if you don't have the talent on your team, but at least try something different." Albert Einstein is widely credited with saying the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again, but expecting different results. Joe, did we not just say that last week? Didn't we?
We did a little.
We talked about that, right? So
he changed, like I said, he changed up the offensive line.
Hey, because he had to. I guess what came first, the chicken or the egg on that, right?
Yep.
Yeah, we don't know. Probably, but he said he was going to. But here's the yang of the La Familia Ohana deal is that he's dedicated to these people. And I mean, coaches and everything. A lot of these guys have been with him a long time.
Right.
These coaches he brought.
And that's just one of those things where, again, you see the difference in
player
some
roles
of the
too. Yeah.
Well, and some of the dangers of going for these graduate seniors. This guy, he was an honorable mention offensive lineman who wanted to go somewhere. Probably, I don't want to go as far as saying promised, but for the most part, as long as he got here, he was going to be playing. And those type of guys, this is their last stop to try to go to the NFL. So,
right.
So they haven't gone through the program. They're not yearly long friends with these people. He's been here since the summer. That's it. And he's there for all intents and purposes himself, no matter, and obviously you saw that with the way that he didn't even call the head coach. I guess he just called the offensive line, told him the offensive line coach, told him that he was quitting.
Mm-hmm.
So, and that's, again, people, they want to say, well, I mean, they did the same thing last year. If they did it with Coda Martin. Difference is he was already family. He doesn't have to be there 4 years when he's married to his coach's daughter.
Right.
So he was already bought in. When he was going there, he was already bought in.
That's true, Joe.
There's a
Good
difference.
point.
There's a difference in the graduate transfers, and that's the danger when you want to kind of bring those type of players in, especially when you preach togetherness and family and things like that. So that was just one thing I wanted to throw out there. We were excited about him because we wanted to compare him to last year, and he obviously. He didn't buy all the way in, and he wasn't prepared.
We were high on him. I thought he was going to really help out, and he really
and I think
struggled.
A lot of it.
He struggled.
Oh yeah, and I think a lot of it is the aura of what happened last year. Where Coda Martin just came in, and it was like, oh wow, he just came in, graduate senior. He just plugged right in, and he was great. So I think everyone expected the same thing, and I did too. I was excited for the kid because I thought maybe. And then when you actually look back and you see how this whole thing unfolded,
and we skipped.
There's nothing in my mind that imagine Coda Martin, even if he wasn't good enough last year, Babers tells him, "Oh, hey, I'm going to start this guy over this guy." You think he's quitting?
Right? No way.
You're married to my daughter. You're going to quit?
Yeah, you live in my basement, son. I will find you.
So.
Yeah,
I think we just found out that he didn't have it in him to be part of the family.
Yeah, exactly. We skipped over this though. What Lester said. Can we seriously start to assume that Dino's time is done here? No. What are you going to do?
That's easy to skip over because
it's asinine. But here's the thing, and you got to think about this. Okay, so Syracuse fires John Wildhack fires Dino Babers this year. Okay, then you bring in a new guy. Well, 2 years from now, all of a sudden he's got this older team that he can do something with, and then once the turnover starts, then where are we at again? Why not just keep this guy here? Obviously. And just let him do his thing, like Joe said. This without last year, this was kind of expected. So maybe the success was so good last year that it would just put us in a different place.
Right.
So,
well, you've seen it throughout Syracuse when you look at like Marone's years. He didn't have the greatest years his first couple years. Then he gets Nassib in there. He grows. I remember his freshman year, I think he split starts and split playing time with Greg Paulus, who came in. And then, he had 3 years of playing. And by the time he got to his junior and his senior year, he was, I think we went to 2 bowl games in a row, I believe. And he ended up getting drafted in the NFL. And then it was kind of silent for him. And then it was kind of silent for a minute, right? Then we get Terrell Hunt. Terrell Hunt got to his junior year. And he was pretty good. He was a little shifty, and everyone was looking forward to him. What happens? He gets hurt. Got to bring in Eric Dungy. Comes in true freshman. So you see as it goes that it's kind of the only time we've really had bowl games of success is once our quarterbacks have gotten to the junior, senior year, 3-4 years in, or 4 or 5 years in, so to speak. So again, this it's just one of those things, growing pains when it comes to having to just kind of resurrect your offense when you lose so many people.
Yeah, it's tough, man. Look, one more from the Cuse Yourself group. Defense was gassed early with consecutive 3-and-outs. DeVito has heart to lead this team. Just needs to learn pocket presence. Offensive line still can't pick up a blitz. Blocking scheme is horrible. Kavanaugh needs to go. Play calling is more of the same old, predictable. Lynch should have his job in jeopardy. And he goes on. You can check that out on Facebook if you want to see it there. Yeah, I mean, those are all that's kind of what we've seen. Right. The consecutive 3-and-outs, these slow starts at the beginning of these games, and when you see your team coming, they go 3-and-out freaking every time. I'm like, well, it sets the freaking pace for the game. It sets the pace, and they haven't. I don't know if they don't defer or if they've just been getting the short end of the stick on this, but it seems like these teams get these leads, and then after the half, we're kicking off to them to come out to start the third, which sucks. Mm-hmm. And because you're already down, and we've talked about. I mean, as far as the Kavanaugh stuff and the Lynch stuff, I mean, I don't know.
I just don't.
Here's the thing. Those are Babers guys. This is what we talked. We were just touching on this with the Ohana stuff. Right. I don't know where the line is. I just don't think
nobody had a problem with any of these coaches last year when we went 10-3. So,
there are some deficiencies though, Joe. The play calling has not been great, to say the least.
This year?
This year. There was questionable play calling last year. I remember talking about it.
Right. Yep. There was. 100%.
So,
but I think there was also a lot of those things came down to, I think that Eric Dungy, I thought last year actually was injured. I thought his shoulder was injured, and there was a reason why in certain games he wasn't able to make certain throws, and I think that's why certain play calls were like that. There's always, you never know what the behind the scenes reasons are for some of these things, and overall, I don't think anybody would have called for any coach's job last year after a 10-3 season.
Well, it's funny because that at Fire Babers on Twitter, I went through this with Dan Lyons from, I think he's from Noon's Magician. He posted it. People were posting this thing, and I went there because I didn't even know it existed. So I went there, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I do remember this. It was from last year. That thing started up last year in October. It's got 0 followers, and they followed 0 people. So whoever created it probably forgot about it. But so there was those rumblings at one point last year, and I don't remember the specific situations where they came up, but that was crazy. I mean, don't you remember talking about that? People calling for Babers' job last year through all that?
I don't know because I think there was a point when we did have some type of conversation where we were talking about we had some people calling for his job and other people saying that he was going to leave to get a better job all at the same time.
Right.
And that's just how blasphemous it is. And like I said, at the end of the day, coaches, I mean, sometimes it is personnel, sometimes it is injuries. And I don't think that based off of 1 year, a coach should be fired unless there's some real just internal kind of coaching just butting heads and kind of differing of opinion situations, right. But I don't think any of these coaches, it's tough because when you have the personnel and you can't make, you can lead a horse to water, I guess it's really all.
Right. Can't make them drink.
So who do you blame? Because nobody's behind the scenes that really knows what's going on.
Yeah, I know, but all we can do is speculate. I guess that's what we do. So, in certain, I hate doing, but it is what it is. Sometimes you have to. So, but okay, we'll be on to Boston College. We'll give you the Boston College pregame, like we always do.
Actually, a 3-point favorite right now.
Preview. Yeah, well, I'm saying I think this is our legit best shot to win a game in the ACC. I really hope.
Well, it's looking like the best one. Yeah.
Right? I mean, they got just absolutely pummeled by Clemson yesterday. I don't know what the final score was, but I think when I saw it was like...
They beat somebody good the next week, or the week before.
Who'd they beat?
I think they beat NC State.
Okay. I think you're right. But we'll talk about that later. Look, hey.
Yeah.
Basketball started, kind of.
Hey! I missed it.
Hey, ho. Yeah, so, right? Get this. I could watch it on my TV...
That was a good one.
Another acorn, man. That one hit square, boy. Let me tell you.
Yeah, it did. I think I see the dent.
That's hilarious. What was I saying? Oh, I could watch it on my phone, but I couldn't watch it on my TV, which it wouldn't work off the Fire Stick. But anyway, I watched the game. I thought that here's the thing, my only takeaway that I really had besides the turnovers was terrible, but 20 turnovers, and between the three big point guards, they had, I think they had 12 turnovers between the three of them. Braswell scored 17 points. He was on fire. I think he missed a total of one shot. And I believe it was a 3-pointer, and he did hit he hit at least 2 or 3 from out there. He grabbed 4 rebounds.
3 or 4.
3 or 4. Okay. He grabbed 4 rebounds, and blocked a couple shots. So Carey scored 8 points. He hit a couple threes, or A3. A3 was it 1? I should probably have the box score in front of me. Gerard 8 points. He knocked down a couple of threes, in which, Buddy hit a couple of threes. How many did Buddy hit?
See, Boeheim went 2 for 6.
Okay.
Jalen Carey went 1 for 1. Bryson Godine 2 for 4. Joe Girard 2
How many
for
guys
5.
scored? How many guys scored? 9?
10.
10 guys scored. Now,
Yes,
look, I know
10.
I know this is a Division II school, but they're older.
Right.
They were an older team. They're a veteran team, so
Right.
a lot of older guys on there. And so my one takeaway from watching it on my phone, which is difficult to watch it on your phone than it is sitting down on the couch and watching it on TV. But dude, they move the ball well. They play as a team. They're. I just feel like there's something special about this team to watch them, and I hope Gary doesn't leave because he's awesome. So,
Yeah, I mean, he kind of had a lot of people actually had 8 points. There's a lot of Joe Girard had 8, Bryson Godine had 8, Carey had 8, Boeheim had 8, and Guerriere had 8.
And it's just going to be awesome to watch this team develop. You got another exhibition game coming up Tuesday, which, we're not going to pregame for, but we'll talk about it on Wednesday when we do the Boston College preview. We can probably hit that up real quick. But, exhibition games are what they are. We're not going to get too deep into them. But it's just good to see the court being brought back into the dome. And, it's that time of the year where we get some overlap, which is exciting. And, your Saturdays are full of football, and your weekdays, now you got something to do during the week.
Oh, yeah. No, I'm excited about Hughes, too. Guy went 8 for 10, 5 of 7 from 3, 24 points.
I know. That's the thing, Joe.
Bam said he could have had 40 if he kept him in and he wanted to.
Yeah.
So
how many minutes did he play? 20? Or no, he probably played more than that. But
the minutes aren't up here, but
well, I mean, here's the thing. They scored,
not as much as he's gonna in regular games. That's for sure.
They scored 90 points, and we haven't seen this. I know the competition, but the scoring, I don't know. It just feels like it's going to be there this year. Something
15 to 32 from the 3-point line.
That's awesome.
That's what I'm saying. We shoot like that, and we're gonna have chances.
And don't forget, we moved the line back. These guys are getting comfortable with that. They're hitting them.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And we got
a lot of 3-point shooters. It's going to be figuring out.
Yeah, and not for anything, Damon
got the hot hand.
Damon was nailing them too from deep, real deep.
Yeah, I heard.
So they were nailing them, dude. And if it wasn't for that, we'd have absolutely crushed this team. We'd have crushed them by 35. So anyway, that's it. That's all we got. Look, if you want to leave a iTunes review, we really appreciate those. Leave a 5-star review and a comment. You feel free to embellish. Feel free to fluff us up. It's always best if we read your comment on the air. We will send you some swag. We'll give you our email and we'll send you some swag. Just send some swag out today. Or wait, yesterday. Today's Sunday. Mail doesn't go out today. So anyway, there's some in the mail, and you know who you are. But that's it. So I'd like to thank Manscaped. Head over to manscaped.com. Use the promo code armchair. Get 20% off of your kit. Look, I'm going to delve into this kit next episode.
Here we go.
I'm going to tell you all about it. Their cologne smells excellent, by the way. I wore it tonight. And let me tell you, I smell amazing.
No. Mm-hmm.
I smell
I'm
amazing.
sure.
I smell amazing right now.
Sure, sure you're the only one that knows.
Thank my bookie. I want to thank all of you for listening. All of you who participated in the fan feedback. Keep it up. We love you guys. And to thanks to James on guitar as always. For Joe, I'm Sean. We're out of here.
Thanks for listening to the Cuse Militia Podcast, the fan's voice with Sean and Joe.